I've been building Gunpla for quite a few years now, and I've even won my fair share of awards. Heck, I've even judged a few competitions. And let me tell you something, there are certain secrets about Gunpla that no one talks about. These are the things that you wish you knew when you started out, the things that would have saved you hours of frustration, and the things that will absolutely change the way you look at the hobby. And today I'm finally revealing them. So sit back, grab a kit, and let's get into 5 Gunpla secrets no one wants to tell you. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around to the last one. It's the one that completely changed the way I build. I want you to ruin your Gunpla. I know this might sound insane. Why would you ever want to ruin your Gunpla? Well, you don't really want to ruin it, but you should plan on it happening, especially early on, and even after you've been building for years and years and you have tons of experience. Here's the truth. Gunpla is an art form, and with any art, failure is part of the process. Some percentage of your builds are going to end up in the ruined pile, and that's okay. I credit being able to get good at Gunpla as quickly as I have, mainly to not taking it that seriously and being more or less okay with completely ruining just about every project I've worked on. So here's my advice. Don't risk your Grail kit. Don't jump straight into painting your most beloved master grade or that rare P Banda you just imported. Instead, grab a cheap high grade or even a kit that you're not that into. Try experimenting on that one. You won't cry if it goes wrong, and you'll learn way more because you're willing to take risks. That mindset, being okay with failure, is the fastest way to actually improve. So here's a practical tip. Always keep one beater kit on the bench just for experiments. If you try the scary stuff there, you'll be fearless on your real builds. You are what you eat. Look at Hobby Japan magazine. Here's one people overlook all the time. We scroll Instagram, watch YouTube, hop into Discord, and all of that's great. But if you really want to sharpen your eye, pick up a hobby magazine. Now I know what you're thinking, but I can't read Japanese. Guess what? You don't need to. I can't read a lot of what's in there either, and also it's worth noting a ton of it is in English. But the magic isn't in the text, it's in the photos. Hobby Japan, Dengeki Hobby, Model Graphics, these magazines all print their photos at insanely high resolutions. Every decal, every paint fade, every weathering detail, it's all right there, bigger and sharper than what you'll ever get on your phone screen. Here's the difference. On Instagram, you scroll past 100 builds in 2 minutes. In a magazine, you'll sit with a single kit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, studying every angle. You start noticing how builders pose their kits, how they balance proportions, how subtle their color choices really are. It also helps that all of the main feature builds of each issue have breakdowns showing before and afters, what modifications were done, sometimes even drawings and diagrams of how the edits were made are included. I can honestly say my building got better, not because I read Hobby Japan magazine, but because I looked at Hobby Japan. Just staring at the photos, I started seeing how pros actually finish their work. So grab a few issues off eBay, Mandarake, Surukaya, or wherever you can find them. Pour yourself a drink, flip through the pages, and just soak it in. You don't really need to understand a single word for it to level you up. Stop being a baby and use putty. Okay, I'm half joking with that, but seriously, learn to use putty. It blows my mind how many builders skip this. They'll go straight to scribing panel lines or scratch building before they ever learn to putty a seam. Putty is a foundational skill. Once you master it, seam lines don't scare you anymore. Old kits stop looking intimidating. Suddenly you can fix proportions, bulk up armor, reshape parts. It's like a whole new toolbox opens up. And it doesn't need to be complicated. My go-to recommendation is Tamiya Basic Type Putty. Here's a practical exercise. Grab a cheap SD kit and use it as your putty test subject. Apply some putty over a seam or gap, then let it cure fully. Don't rush this part. Once it's hardened, start sanding in stages. 400 grit to knock it down, 800 to smooth it out, and finish with 1500 or 2000 for a nice clean surface. After sanding, check it under harsh light. This part is super critical. Shine a desk lamp across the surface. If you still see a ghost seam, just add a thin layer of additional putty and repeat the process. And remember, wear a mask and clean up with a wet cloth when you're done so you're not breathing in putty dust or spreading it around your workspace. Do this a couple of times on an SD kit and you'll build confidence fast. Suddenly those seam lines that used to scare you on bigger kits will feel like no big deal at all. This one is huge. If this list was ranked, this might actually be number 1. I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck on a problem and a friend saved me. And I don't just mean expert friends, even complete beginners can surprise you. Someone might be better at sanding than you, or decals, or painting, and they'll show you something you never thought of. I'll give you a quick story. At a local build meet, I was struggling with putting pieces together because there was a major seam line running down a part. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to remove this part for painting later on. I asked a friend about it, Nickel Models, you should follow him on Instagram by the way. Anyway, what he told me blew my mind. He was like, oh, just scribe a seam line so it looks like a panel line. I could not believe it. My head exploded. I never would have thought of that in a million years, and it was infinitely easier than what I had been planning on doing. That's the kind of thing you cannot get from just watching videos. Online communities are awesome. I run my own Discord channel and I love hanging out with people there, but nothing compares to holding a kit in front of someone in person and saying, I'm stuck on this. Can you look at this? Please help. So here's your challenge. Search for a Gunpla club or build night in your city. If there's nothing around you, start your own. It doesn't need to be a big event. Even 2 or 3 people can completely change the way you approach the hobby. If you can't do that, try going to a convention or a build competition. There are lots of cons all throughout the country and across the world, and you can probably find something that's within decent driving distance from where you live. Chat with some other builders there. You would be surprised how happy people are to talk to you about how they completed their projects, how they did what they did. People tend to love to share all that info. Make friends, share tips. It's the fastest cheat code to improving your skills. Here's the last one, and I think it's the most underrated. Photograph your work. Not to share it, not to flex it online, do it for yourself. Why? Because your eyes lie to you. When you're staring at a kit on your desk for hours, you get blind to the details. But when you snap a photo and look at it on your phone, everything changes. Suddenly, that seam line that you thought you fixed is glaringly obvious and needs additional putty and sanding. Or that pose that you thought looked super cool and amazing in a 3D space actually looks really goofy in your 2D photograph. That weathering job, maybe it's a little bit heavy-handed and you need to pare it back a bit. This is an old artist's trick that's been around forever. Painters used to look at their work in mirrors or photos to spot mistakes, and it works just as perfectly well with Gunpla. Plus, you'll build an archive. Months or years later, you can scroll back and actually see how far you've come. That alone is worth it. Again, for this one, you don't need a photo booth, you don't need a fancy camera, you can just snap photos on your desk and it's going to do all the work for you. Just looking at them on your phone is help enough. And that's it. Those are my 5 Gunpla secrets that nobody talks about. These are the things that made the biggest difference to me, and I hope they help you as well. But now I want to hear from you. What's your number 1 Gunpla secret that nobody talks about? The tip that drives you crazy because no one has ever mentioned it. Please drop it in the comments. I'd love to make this into a massive community list. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, consider becoming a channel member. You'll get exclusive videos, live streams, behind the scenes stuff. I put out at least 1 extra piece of content a month. Also, if you want to talk more about Gunpla, retro games, anime, all the fun stuff, come hang out in the Discord. The link's down below. We'd love to have you. Alright, that's it for me. Until next time, happy building. Bye!